Hey everyone, Stewart. It's Friday, Gosport update from Hugo Boss Sailing, and down here in the wonderful Gosport HQ. So before I get into this video, last week I cracked up on the video pause and there was all sorts of technical problems. Won't happen this week. Apologies for that. Those of you who were wondering what was going on. Anyway, let's talk about what's going on with the team, and let's talk about what's going on with the boat. So last week was about survival, tough times in the Pacific. This week it's about really turning the corner and coming home. So today the guys are going to round Cape Horn. Cape Horn's a fairly mythical place for around the world sailors. They've spent 5 or 6 weeks going around the planet in the Southern Ocean, facing all sorts of dangers and big ocean open spaces, and Cape Horn is a really important turning point. Not only is it the place of stuff of legends and myths and a whole bunch of maritime tradition, but it's also a really important psychological turning point as they round back into the Atlantic. The weather starts to warm up and it really feels like you're coming home. So they're going to reach Cape Horn today, and that's a really important point for the guys. So we've been speaking to them over the last few days. I think if you summed up the last 3 or 4 weeks since the guys left New Zealand, it's been a pretty tough crossing of the Pacific. So they had the emotional wreckage of Christchurch and the earthquake. They then had a cyclone that came and gave them a bit of a bashing. They've had some pretty difficult weather conditions through the rest of the Pacific, and I think they're both very keen to get around the corner and get back into the Atlantic. So that's where we are. Rounding, it's a big point for us, big point for those guys, and we're now, as they point there, bound north. It's all about getting them home as quickly as possible. The other thing I keep mentioning is, at this point in the race, attrition's been quite high. All the boats have got jobless. Everyone's fighting different various technical issues on board, and everyone's essentially in what we call MacGyver mode. So the old American sitcom of MacGyver, where he creates amazing things out of fertilizer bags. The guys and all the teams are in that space right now, so everyone's going to be facing various technical problems. Group Bell's pulled into Ushuaia, which is the most southerly town or city in the world, with keel problems. Mirabeau's got problems, unfortunately, with Michelle with health, so we do hope she's okay. But everyone's got a big long list of things that is hindering them and forcing them to do maintenance as they race. What's our issue? Our issue is we need to right now conserve fuel. This race has been longer than we expected with the ice gates, and therefore we've got a potential fuel shortage. We want to get the boat home in one go without stopping. That's still our intention, but we need to conserve fuel, and that means over the last week or so we've seen a reduction in the amount of computer work that the guys have been able to do. Which means there's been very little video and very little photos and a whole bunch of media coming off the boat. We've had to reduce computer usage, but we're speaking to them all the time. They're in reasonably good form. They've had a pretty tough crossing of the Pacific. They're quite keen to get around the corner, which will happen, as I said, today, and start heading for home. So yeah, pretty challenging Pacific, turning the corner, on their way home. That's where we are. Thanks everyone. Bye.